Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 170. And there will be no Twilight Forest exploration today, because I realized I have some other things I would like to do. And one of those things is right in here. So here we have the components for a tablet. We have a tablet case, we have a keyboard, a battery upgrade, tier 2 graphics card, a wireless network card, a CPU, 1.5 memory, an EEPROM with the Lua BIOS, and a hard disk. And I actually assembled this already and then disassembled it again because I put in a tier 1 memory card in it and that turned out to be insufficient. And I also took this opportunity to make a tier 3 battery upgrade for it. So we're going to set that to assemble, and it's pretty quick because the complexity isn't that high. So the reason I want to make a tablet is, well, there can be a bunch of reasons, but the current reason is in here. Here we have a remote module from OC-Minecarts, and OC-Minecarts is a mod I added a while ago, but haven't really done anything with yet. So the remote module, as you can see, you can install it in locomotives, and it does support Railcraft, of course. And what it does is it allows this module will listen for network signals, wireless network signals, obviously, and it can control the locomotive using those signals. So basically it makes the locomotive a wireless receiver and sender. And it listens on a specific port at first. I think it's port 1 or something, and sends messages on port 2. So you can broadcast a signal on a specific port using any Open Computer's device that has a wireless network card, of course. And if you send the right command on the right port, any locomotives that are listening on that port will respond to that command. And you can, for example, change the mode on the locomotive to set it to running, idle, shutdown, change the speed, etc. Get the amount of heat, I think, and things like that. Not entirely, I don't exactly remember what all it can do, but it can do a bunch of things. What I'm interested in, of course, is remote control, basically starting and stopping the locomotive remotely. And while not super relevant when riding a locomotive, what I want it for, and now our tablet is assembled, what I want it for is controlling the locomotive when I'm not in it. And the primary use for this will be when laying down tracks. Now, I kind of wish I'd had this when I was working on the railway, but that is now complete, because then I could have walked in front of the locomotive, or behind it, rather, and laid down tracks, and had the locomotive drive after me, and then use a tablet to stop it when necessary, when I needed more time to smooth out the terrain or build a bridge or whatever. As it has been, I had to do that, and then I had to walk back a bit, get in the train, and then push it forward myself, which took a little extra time. But this is still going to be useful because sometimes I will have a duplication glitch occur, which can be bad um, because it will cause the train to all the connections to break, and the locomotive, being set at a high speed when that happens, will shoot off, and I will have to basically go into creative mode to be able to catch up to it and stop it. But with a remote, I can just take up my tablet and hit the shutdown, and it should stop on its own. And it should also stop the copy, because they will both have the same settings and listen to the same channel in case there are two locomotives. Now, I have the Tier 2 module, and as you can see, it has a range of 64 blocks. There is also a Tier 3 module, which has a range of 256 blocks, but that is quite expensive. Costs a Tier 3 microchip and a solar generator upgrade, which cost more microchips. And I'm not that rich in diamonds at the moment. Now, I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to wait for it to charge up first, and then we will be back and we will see how we are going to interact with this. This is a charger, of course. I'm actually going to have to provide it with a redstone signal for it to charge. So, I will be back in a little bit. Alright, so we are back, and the tablet is now fully charged. It actually took a while to charge the tablet with a Tier 3 upgrade in it, but it should have plenty of power now to last a good while with this upgrade. Otherwise, it can run out pretty quickly depending on what it is doing, and I would prefer not having to turn it off all the time, because I'm going to need to have it running to be on standby. Now, to start this tablet, I am just going to right-click with it. You can right-click a block or right-click air, it doesn't really matter. So if I do that, we're going to get a screen, and immediately we get the no bootable medium found. And this is because I put in an empty hard drive. There is no operating system on this. There's no init.lua to use, so the tablet doesn't work. And I expected this, of course. Now, what can you do? Well, that's the coolant processing system. The easiest solution, probably, is to put in a hard drive that already has an operating system on it before assembling the tablet. However, since I didn't do that, what we can do instead is we put it in the charger. And since the charger is connected to my computer here by proximity, and if I take this out, I have the disk drive up here with the OpenOS floppy in it. And if I take out the hard drive of my computer with my operating system on it, turn it on, it's going to boot from the floppy. And once this has started, which is going to take a little bit of time, booting from a floppy disk is kind of slow. Just really slow. Right. So now we are booted on from the floppy, and we don't have the normal hard drive in. Now, if I go back one step in the directory hierarchy, we have the mount directory where all of our file systems will live. If we go in there and do a list, you can see that we have 3 different file storage locations or file systems available, and the hard drive I took out is not among them. The tablet ID is 9C9, but we don't have that here. And that is because that is not the same as the ID of the hard drive inside of the tablet, which is still a separate object. Now if I take the tablet out of the charger and do an ls, you can see that one of these went away. And we are missing the 035 file system, which means that that is our tablet. So if I put that back, and I can navigate into 035 now, because it is present, and if I do an ls, we will see that it is completely empty. So I'm going to do an install, and we can see that we only get one option, and that is the 035 file system, and we can see the entire ID of the hard drive here. So we will select that and let it install. Which is going to take a little bit because it's doing it from a floppy. And of course you can't put a floppy disk in a tablet because the disk drive doesn't fit, I'm fairly sure. And it doesn't have an interface for you to put the disk in. So that is not possible. But it is now installing OpenOS onto the tablet, which means that once this is done, it should be momentarily, there we go, it is going to, or we are going to be able to run the tablet on its own. So we do not want to set the tablet as our boot device for this computer, so we're going to say no. Then we're going to turn this off, put the hard drive back in, and take the tablet. We don't need the computer anymore right now. So if I right-click the tablet now, it is going to boot into OpenOS, similarly to how a computer would. You can see we're booting into OpenOS 1.6. And from here on out, it pretty much works like a normal computer, with a couple of exceptions. One is, of course, that it is portable and lives in our inventory. And the other is that you can't interact with other external components, of course. Now, you can't put certain upgrades into this, like the piston upgrade, of course, sine IO upgrade, solar generator upgrade should work, I think. Leash upgrade, probably. And crafting upgrade probably doesn't work. Certain upgrades won't work. You can use the tractor beam upgrade, which allows the tablet to pull items or pick up items and put them in your inventory, I'm pretty sure. And you can also put a geolyzer in it and use it to scan blocks. As you can see, when I target a block with the tablet, there's a highlight on the side of the block, which indicates what target or what block the tablet is going to interact with if you right-click, which is pretty neat. I, of course, don't have any of those upgrades in this tablet at the moment, and probably won't. So, what we are going to do now is we are going to head upstairs to my locomotive, and we're going to install this remote module. Hello. You can go away. Alright. I teleported back to the to here using the ender porter, didn't I? So the train is actually at the outpost. So we're going to have to head there. Hello? Oh, right. I don't have enough power to teleport there. Okay, so I'm going to clean out my inventory a little bit, get rid of some junk and sort it. Turn the tablet off for now. You can force it to shut off immediately by shift right clicking with it. And then we will be back when I am at the outpost where the train is. So yeah, I will see you in a little bit. Alright, so we are back, and I am back, and as you can see, I am not actually at the outpost. I decided to teleport out there and drive the train back home, because I am going to have to be here to make materials for the next building anyway, which I haven't started designing yet. Still not quite done with the station. I still need to acquire abyssal stone for the pillars and some of the decorations and such. Also, while writing here, I realized that I'm not actually done with this railway, because I've pretty much only built half of it, because as you can see, we have 2 lanes here, while beyond this bridge, it's pretty much just 1 lane. And it's supposed to be 2 all the way, so I am going to be able to use this to help me with the construction of that. So that is going to be nice. So what we do is we right-click the locomotive to install the module, and we don't see any difference in the interface or on the locomotive itself, but that is fine. Now I'm going to start the tablet, and I have the wiki for this mod next to me here. And we're going to open the Lua prompt and try sending some stuff to the locomotive. So if we go into the component object, we should have a modem, which is our wireless network card. And you then have a broadcast method, and you specify the port, and then the message sent, which is a string, and this would be the command, and then you can have additional fields, pretty much however many as you like, although there's probably an upper limit somewhere. But so we can send a command to the locomotive, and the default command port is 2, I'm pretty sure. And if I go to the list of commands, we can say rotate. Okay. That didn't exactly work. Oh, wait, no. That is not for... The locomotive, I don't think, doesn't work with that. That is for the robot cart uh, from OC-Minecarts. Let's see, what's the commands for the locomotive? Not sure. That is the computer carts. The remotes. Doesn't have a list of commands. I thought it did. Let's see. You can also send private messages directly to because the remote module in the locomotive is, um, it's it's a component. It's basically you could probably liken it to a microcontroller inside of the locomotive, and it has an address. And you can send private messages that will only be received by um, computers that have that address, and you can get it by using a module, an analyzer on the. Or actually, does OC-Minecarts have its own? Yeah. So you need to make one of these to get the address. Now, I don't. I might need a specific program to be able to do this, because I can't get a list of commands without. So I can send commands to the locomotive, but I can't listen at the same time in the Lua prompt, because listening will hold up the prompt. So basically what we are going to have to do is exit the prompt and do edit. We'll go test that. Lua will do for now. And we're going to want to do this. And then modem equals component modem. And then we are going to do modem dot broadcast on port 2, and then we're going to send the doc, and the first argument we're going to set to T. And what this should do is send a command to the module to return all of the commands it has. We're also going to want the event API. I think that is correct. And then we're going to want event poll. And then we're going to try to print that. I think that should work, maybe. And then we're going to run locatest and see what happens. Okay, it is not events, it is probably event. So I'm going to change that. And then run it again. And we get the key up. Which is not what I wanted. So what happens is it catches me releasing the key after running the program. Might help if I have it sleep for a second before polling events should have me and leave me enough time to release the key. Not sure if that is going to allow me to catch the command from the return value from the locomotive though. Maybe I should put the sleep before the broadcast. Say broadcast after I've released the key. Hopefully this will work. We might have to continue this in the next episode if I can't get this working in a few minutes. Wait, what? Unfinished string. Huh. Oh. Looks like I accidentally deleted some stuff there. It's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's try this again. And... oh. Wait. I have to open the port I want to listen on first, of course. So we're going to do modem open 1, which is the response port, because otherwise we're not going to be able to receive any signals on it. Maybe it works now? No? Pretty sure event poll is supposed to be able to do that. The port should be correct. Let's see. Response on port 1 with a broadcast. So if we listen on port 1, that should give us what we want. I'm going to look up the modem. Doesn't that have an API? Probably in the component. Yeah, it's a component, of course. Open port number. So that should work. Let's print that. It should print true if it opened the port, or false if it couldn't because it was already open. So it should now print false. Ah, there we go. Right. So now it worked for some reason. I'm not sure why it didn't before. But here we have a list of commands. So we have doc, response port, command port, response broadcast, the signal strength of the when sending messages. And then we have the locomotive commands, which are speed, mode, steam, heat, water, and whistle. So what we can do with that, now that we have the commands, pretty much we are interested in the mode command, which we are going to... actually, no, we still need to go to edit, of course. Let's try with the whistle command. We can try to make the locomotive whistle. Presumably, let's see. We can send this, so if we send this a name of a method, it should return instructions on how to use that. So there we go. So we have the whistle, it takes no arguments, and it makes the locomotive whistle simply enough. So let's try sending the whistle command, and the locomotive should then activate its whistle. So what I want to do is make a graphical interface. Actually, we can remove this completely. Where I have the tablet and I have a bunch of on-screen buttons that I can use to control the locomotive. And they would probably be similar to this. I would have buttons to set the speed and then a bunch of buttons to set the mode. And if I wanted to be fancy, I could also have the tablet show me the amount of water and the amount of steam that is inside. But I probably won't go that far because I don't really need that. Let's see. Let's run this. And it whistles. And it's not going to receive a signal. So the program is not going to end until it receives a signal. If I run it again, we are going to have another whistle. So there we have it. And unfortunately now I have to... What? Oh, the doors downstairs detect me when I'm up here apparently. Interesting. Whatever. Unfortunately now I have to end the episode because we are out of time. But probably in the next episode we are going to work on making an interface for this using signals to detect, because as you saw when I run this program, when I click the screen somewhere, I receive a touch event and I receive the position I clicked at as well as who clicked. And this is because the tablet, let's show this quickly here. You have two tiers of tablets, tier 1 and the tier 2. And the tier 1, which is what I have currently, contains a tier 2 screen. And then you have the tier 2 tablet, which also contains a tier 2 screen. And I put a tier 2 graphics card in this as well, to be able to utilize the colors of the screen. But a tier 2 screen, as well as a tier 3 of course, can receive touch events, which basically means this. So I can have things happen when I click the screen, and I can test the coordinates I clicked at to define buttons. So when I click in a specific area where there is a matching button, presumably, I can have something specific happen. So I'm going to use that to create my interface, of course, which I planned out from the beginning, pretty much. But yeah, so that's going to be today's episode. And like I said, in the next one, we're going to continue working on this. So I will see you then.